What's up, Suplex Rumble family? Hit that subscribe button right now because what I'm about to reveal is shaking the WWE locker room. Dramatic pause. Austin Theory, former United States champion, Mr. Money in the Bank, Vince McMahon's hand-picked protege, just did the unthinkable on Monday Night Raw. When Bronson Reed, the 330-pound wrecking machine from Australia, tried to establish himself as a locker room leader and recruit Theory to his cause, Austin looked him dead in the eye and said, "No, but why? Why would a young superstar refuse an alliance with one of the most dangerous men in WWE? What's really happening backstage? And what does this mean for the future of both superstars?" Today, we're going deep into the WWE locker room politics, the clash of egos, the battle for respect, and the explosive reasons why Austin Theory is standing alone. This is going to be good. Let's go. Transition sound effect, host. Alright, Rumble crew, let me paint the picture of what went down, because this story has layers that most fans don't even realize. Monday Night Raw. Backstage area. Cameras are rolling for a backstage segment, but according to multiple sources within WWE, what happened before and after the cameras were on was even more revealing. Bronson Reed has been on an absolute tear recently. This man has been flattening everyone in his path, crushing opponents with tsunami after tsunami, establishing himself as one of the most feared forces in WWE. He's not just looking to win matches, he's looking to build a legacy. He's looking to create a movement. And part of that movement? Recruiting talent. Bronson Reed knows that in WWE, you're only as strong as your allies. Look at the Bloodline. Look at Judgment Day. Look at every dominant faction in wrestling history. Power comes from unity. So Reed approached Austin Theory with a proposition. Join forces. Combine Theory's athleticism and potential with Reed's raw power and intensity. Create an unstoppable duo that could dominate Raw and capture championship gold. On paper, it makes perfect sense. But Austin Theory said no. Not with hesitation. Not with, "let me think about it." A straight-up, definitive, look-you-in-the-eye rejection. And according to people backstage, Bronson Reed did not take it well. The tension was thick. The air was electric. Two massive egos colliding in a hallway, and everyone around them felt it. Pause for effect. So why did Theory refuse? To answer that, we need to understand who Austin Theory really is and what drives him. Because this isn't just about refusing an alliance. This is about identity, pride, and the cutthroat nature of WWE's locker room hierarchy. Host. Let's talk about Austin Theory, because this guy's journey in WWE has been absolutely fascinating, and it explains everything about why he refused Bronson Reed. Austin Theory burst onto the scene as a cocky, talented young superstar with unlimited potential. He wasn't just another prospect, he was the prospect. Vince McMahon himself saw something special in Theory. The boss took him under his wing, featured him prominently, positioned him for major success. Theory won the United States Championship. He won Money in the Bank. At just 26 years old, he was being fast-tracked to the main event scene. The future was bright. But then, everything changed. Vince McMahon retired. The regime changed. Triple H took over creative. And suddenly, Austin Theory found himself in a very different WWE. The push slowed down. The spotlight shifted. Theory went from being positioned as a future world champion to fighting to stay relevant. He lost Money in the Bank. He lost the United States Championship. He started appearing in the midcard, sometimes not appearing at all. For a young superstar who had tasted the main event, who had been told he was the guy, that's a brutal fall. Now here's what's crucial to understand, that experience changed Austin Theory. It made him harder. It made him more independent. It made him refuse to rely on anyone else for his success. Theory has publicly talked about needing to prove himself on his own merits. He's mentioned wanting to show that his success wasn't just because of Vince McMahon's favor. He wants to be taken seriously as a wrestler, not just as someone's pet project. So when Bronson Reed approaches him with an alliance, what Theory sees isn't opportunity, he sees dependency. He sees another situation where his success would be tied to someone else. Another scenario where people could say, "Oh, Theory only succeeded because of Bronson Reed." For a young man trying to rebuild his credibility and prove his worth on his own terms? That's unacceptable. Austin Theory isn't refusing Bronson Reed because he doesn't respect him. He's refusing because he respects himself too much to take what he sees as the easy path. Host. Now, let's flip the script and look at this from Bronson Reed's point of view, because his side of the story is equally compelling. Bronson Reed is a 330-pound monster from Australia who has fought and clawed his way to relevance in WWE. This isn't a guy who was handed anything. He was released from WWE in 2021, had to rebuild himself on the independent scene, and earned his way back to the company through sheer determination and undeniable talent. When Reed returned to WWE, he came back with a mission: prove he belongs at the top of this company. And he's been doing exactly that, delivering devastating performances, showing incredible agility for his size, and establishing himself as a legitimate threat to anyone on the roster. But here's the thing about Bronson Reed, he's not just thinking about himself. He's thinking about creating a legacy. He's thinking about building something bigger than one man. He sees himself as a leader, someone who can elevate others while elevating himself. That's not ego, that's vision. So when Reed approached Austin Theory, he wasn't trying to use him, he was trying to build with him. He saw Theory's potential, recognized that Theory was at a crossroads in his career, and offered a partnership that could benefit both men. In Reed's mind, this was respect. This was an opportunity. This was the smart move. And Theory threw it back in his face. Now, put yourself in Bronson Reed's position. You're trying to build something. You're trying to establish leadership. You extend an olive branch to someone who could use an ally, and they reject you publicly. That's not just a no. That's disrespect. That's a young punk telling a legitimate powerhouse that he doesn't need him. In the hyper-competitive, pride-driven world of professional wrestling locker rooms, that's a declaration of war. Lower voice ominous. And Bronson Reed? He doesn't forget. He doesn't forgive. And 330 pounds of anger coming your way? That's a problem that Austin Theory is going to have to deal with. Host. Now let's zoom out and talk about what this situation reveals about WWE's locker room dynamics, because this goes way deeper than just two guys having a disagreement. Professional wrestling locker rooms are unlike any other workplace in the world. You have dozens of ultra-competitive athletes, all fighting for the same spots, the same opportunities, the same championships. Everyone believes they should be the top star. Everyone thinks they deserve more. In that environment, respect is everything. Hierarchy matters. Who you align with, who you stand up to, who you refuse, all of that sends messages about where you stand and what you believe about yourself. Austin Theory refusing Bronson Reed sends a massive message to the entire Raw locker room: I'm not following anyone. I'm carving my own path. That's a bold statement for a 26-year-old who's currently trying to rebuild his career. Some veterans will respect that independence and that confidence. Others will see it as arrogance from someone who hasn't truly earned that level of pride yet. On the flip side, Bronson Reed trying to recruit Theory and being rejected? That also sends a message: Reed doesn't have the pull he thinks he has. People aren't lining up to follow him. That undermines Reed's position as a locker room leader. That makes him look weak in the eyes of other superstars who might have been considering aligning with him. So now both men are in a position where they have to follow through. Theory has to prove he can succeed without help. Reed has to prove he deserves respect by making Theory pay for the rejection. This isn't just going to blow over. This is personal now. This is about proving who you are in the cutthroat world of WWE. And here's what makes this so fascinating from a storytelling perspective: both men are right from their own viewpoints. Theory is right to want to establish his own legacy. Reed is right to be offended by the public rejection. There's no clear hero or villain here. There's just two proud competitors on a collision course, and somebody's going to get hurt. Host. So where does this go from here? What are the possible outcomes of this backstage conflict? Let's break down the scenarios. Rumble crew. This is the most obvious outcome. Bronson Reed, feeling disrespected, makes it his personal mission to destroy Austin Theory. We're talking brutal beatdowns, parking lot attacks, tsunami splashes through tables. Reed uses his size and power advantage to absolutely punish Theory for the rejection. This builds to a high-profile match, maybe at a pay-per-view, maybe in a stipulation match like a street fight or last man standing. Theory has to prove he can hang with Reed one-on-one, without help, just like he claimed he could. If Theory wins, he establishes himself as a legitimate main event talent who doesn't need anyone. If Reed wins, he proves that pride and independence mean nothing when you're getting crushed by 330 pounds of rage. Here's an interesting twist: what if circumstances force these two to work together? Maybe a common enemy emerges. Maybe a tag team tournament. Maybe management puts them together as punishment or as a test. Theory and Reed, forced to cooperate despite hating each other? That's drama. That's conflict. That's great television. Do they eventually learn to respect each other? Do they implode and cost each other victories? The storytelling possibilities are endless. What if Theory eventually agrees to work with Reed, but only after proving he doesn't need Reed? After a few months of competition, after establishing himself, Theory joins the alliance but makes it clear he's an equal partner, not a follower. This gives both men what they want. Theory gets to prove his worth first, Reed gets the ally he wanted. But the tension remains because it's always going to be a question of who's really in charge. This is where it gets really interesting. What if Theory's rejection inspires other superstars to refuse Reed's leadership? What if Reed's inability to recruit Theory makes him look weak to the entire locker room, causing his whole leadership plan to crumble? Alternatively, what if Reed recruits everyone else, and Theory finds himself isolated and alone, facing an entire faction by himself? That's a hero's journey story, the lone wolf versus the pack. The truth is, WWE could take this in any of these directions, and all of them would be compelling. That's the beauty of this conflict. It's real, it's based in character motivations we understand, and it has legitimate stakes for both men's careers. Host. And there you have it, Suplex Rumble family, the complete breakdown of why Austin Theory refused Bronson Reed's leadership, and why this backstage conflict is one of the most interesting storylines on Raw right now. This is more than just two wrestlers having a disagreement. This is about identity. This is about respect. This is about two men at different stages of their careers, both trying to prove something to the world and to themselves. Austin Theory wants to show he's more than someone's protege, he's a star in his own right. Bronson Reed wants to show he's not just a powerful monster, he's a leader who can build a legacy. And when those two visions collide, sparks fly, and the WWE Universe gets incredible storytelling.